Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So as you can see, I got like my vacation hair in. I got my locks done a couple days ago, and I will not be doing wig reviews for the next like 3 weeks to a month. I'm just gonna wear these out and enjoy vacation and enjoy having these. So instead of wig reviews, I'm just gonna come on here and talk about subjects that I feel like are just exploding everywhere, and everybody has heard about it, so it's really just giving my opinion. As you all know, Tom Brady has come out of retirement, and I kind of want to talk about it. You know, everybody thought that this was going to be it. Everybody thought he had left it all out on the field. He had given 22 years of his life. He was done, and he was okay being done. He had given everything that he could. He has accomplished GOAT status. He is the GOAT, and it was kind of just like he was ready slash Giselle was like, it's time. It's time for you to give us what you have given the league respectively for the last 20 something years. And then you get this news, we all get bombarded with this news, which is so crazy because, no one was expecting this to be front and center page, the fact that he has rescinded his retirement. So let's talk about it. I was just hanging out on my couch. My daughter was having a really difficult time getting some sleep because this crazy Ohio weather that we live in, it's like 3 days out of the week, it's like nice and sunny and 50 degrees. And then the very next day, it's like snowing. And then 2 days from now, it's like 65 degrees again. And like the back and forth of this, like, it's just insane. And it's causing allergies and stuff. And like, my daughter's just having trouble adjusting. And it's her first transition into spring, where she's been outside and around. She was a pandy baby, so she was inside for the first year of her life. So this is the first year she's being out and around, and it's just like she's really just getting the full brunt of like transitional seasons. So I was letting her sleep in for a little bit, and all of a sudden I'm scrolling through, my phone, and I'm trying to think like who made it on Selection Sunday, who got invited to the dance. I found out Dick Vitale is cancer-free. He's in remission. Like, he's going to be announcing again. Every single freaking game that Duke is doing is like a farewell to Coach K, who's coaching his last season. And it's just like, these are the things that are kind of at the forefront of like what's happening in the sports world. And all of a sudden, it's just like Tom Brady is coming out of retirement. He is going full-fledged ahead for his 23rd year for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And it's like, whoa, dude, we were not expecting this. Like, I remember when he retired, and then Ben Roethlisberger had already announced his retirement, and it was just like, what the heck is Canton gonna be like in Canton, Ohio for the Hall of Fame ceremony? Like, how much are those tickets gonna go for? It's gonna be just like celebrity A-list status that entire freaking weekend. Like, these are both first run ballot runners for Hall of Fame, for Hall of Fame. Like, it was like, that's what everybody was focusing on. Like, a lot of people were like, oh my gosh, is Aaron Rodgers getting ready to like do because like he has just had to compete against Tom Brady for his entire career, which is why he only has one Super Bowl. It's just like, was he getting ready to like run the league? Like, this was getting ready to be his year. Guess not. It's just not. And it's like, I kind of want to dive into like the possibilities of like what propelled Tom Brady to come back. So I played basketball for 15 years. I almost played in college. I did not play in college, but I almost did. I was not ever going to the WNBA. I was not, and I understood that as things went on in college. But I did play basketball, and basketball was very important to me. It was a very important part of my life. And as important as it was for me and how regimented I was for basketball and the seasons coming up and everything that revolved around basketball, I can only imagine how it is for college athletes and then those who go to professional. Your every waking moment of your life, to what you eat, to what time you exercise, to who you allow yourself to surround yourself with, to what time you go to bed, to the places that you pick and choose to not go to. Everything about your life is about the next win. It's about the next game. And when you get to professionals, it's about the championship. It's championship or bust. Like, you don't go into a league. I don't know about these millennials now who are just like trying to rack up Instagram followers and we're blessed with God-given talent and we're able to get into the league. But especially back in the day, like, your every single whim, everything you did, every foot that you propelled forward in your life was about the next game and about the championship. And I can only imagine, as dedicated as I was, these other athletes who went to much farther superior heights than I did in sports, what it's like to actually like step away from that and join normal life. I can't. Athletes talk all the time about how depression sets in and how it's like, you know, while everybody's gearing up for this next season and what they're going to do on the field, it's the first time where I'm going to be gearing up to be on the sidelines. And it's just like, that's the reality of what Tom Brady was facing. And it's like, was he really prepared for that emotional tsunami that was getting ready to come in? I'm not sure that he was. Skip and Shannon host the Undisputed Show, which I think you guys all know about, especially if you are an avid sports fan like I am. And Shannon said something the other day. He was like, he stated that the Tom Brady retirement was a rushed decision. And because it was a rushed decision, he therefore thought that had a domino effect in how fast he decided to rescind his retirement. And I don't necessarily agree with that. I feel like, in my opinion, the last couple of years, Giselle, Tom's wife, has really been laying breadcrumbs and has had a bug in Tom's ear about the fact that I think she was ready to walk away and she was ready to see if Tom could dedicate the rest of his life or the rest of his children's 0 to 18 life to the family. And so I don't necessarily think it was a rush decision. I do believe this is something that has been in the talks for a couple of years now. Tom Brady, it came out allegedly that part of the reason why he was looking towards possibly retiring was because he felt like, allegedly, the culture with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, like the seriousness of like people really striving to be serious and taking the necessary steps in their daily lives to commit themselves to football wasn't there. Again, this is all speculation. This is just stuff that I've heard off different news channels. But some people were saying allegedly that like Tom did not feel the commitment from the coaching staff and the players, that he felt like everybody needed to have the level of commitment that they all needed to bring to the table in order to win a Super Bowl. Because for Tom Brady, it is Super Bowl or bust. And that was the lack of commitment kind of led him to kind of see the writing on the wall. Maybe it was his time to hang up the cleats and walk away. I don't know. I think it might have been a mixture of things. I don't really think it was a rush decision. But let me tell you something. What I think got him running back was the fact he was not ready for full-time parenting. He wasn't ready. I'm not going to insult Tom and sit here and say he doesn't know what it's like to be a parent, because he has 3 kids. But I'm also not going to insult Giselle by acting like she doesn't carry the brunt of the work, of the emotional, mental, physical well-being of the child rearings of her 3. She has 2 kids. She has a stepkid. But I'm sure Giselle treats her stepson like her son. I'm not going to sit here and insult Giselle and act like she's not taking on the full brunt of the responsibility of being the primary parent. And it's just like, you think you really know what it's like to be a parent when you're flying all over the country and, you know, you got practices and games and can't nobody disturb your sleep past a certain day, past a certain time at night, and you need the full 8 or 9 to 10 hours, or how much Tom has dedicated his body to getting in recovery, and don't wake me up in this early, and, you know, don't bother me with this, and, you know, go run to mom about that. And it's just, I wonder how much of realizing that full-time parenting isn't about Tom Brady, the superstar GOAT athlete football player. Full-time parenting is about, no one cares that you're Tom Brady. Your kids need something, whether or not they want to bother you, whether or not they want to go outside and run around, whether or not they want to have, you know, their friends over, whether or not they need help with their homework. No one cares about Tom Brady, the superstar GOAT athlete football player, when you are a full-time parent, when you are a primary caregiver, when you are sacrificing yourself to care for your children. It's not about you like that anymore. You give up most of your wants. I wouldn't say all of your wants, but you give up most of your wants, and you implement as many of your needs as possible while giving your kids everything else. Now, I'm not saying you neglect yourself, because in order to show up for a lot of people and be the best versions of themselves for their kids, you do need, at a certain level, to take care of yourself. But your kids come first. Your kids' wants and needs come first. And, you know, for somebody who's had it all about them his entire life, and I would say certainly within the last 12 to 15 years, I wonder how much of that was staring him in the eyes and how much he was not ready. He just, the actuality of the fact that, you know, these kids are 24/7 commitments. They just are. With my daughter Natalie, or let me take that back. I saw this like quote on Facebook where it was like, your children don't care if you're not a morning person. They make you turn into a morning person. And it's crazy because I was a server bartender all of my 20s. That's how I made my money. And in order, in my opinion, to make money, you've got to you give up your Fridays nights, your Saturday nights, your holidays. Any day, anytime the corporate America decides they want to take off work, whether that be Memorial Weekend, Labor Day weekend, Christmas, spring break, New Year's Eve, the day before Thanksgiving, everybody knows it's the biggest drinking day of the year. Any day that corporate America decides they want to take off and celebrate something, we as restaurant workers, that's how we make our money, is by being at work during these holidays, these events that people go out and dine and drink and enjoy themselves. So for most of my 20s, I did not celebrate. I mean, I celebrated Thanksgiving. But like the day before Thanksgiving, I was working. The day before Christmas Eve, I was working. New Year's Eve, I was working. New Year's Day, I was working. Every single Sunday, there's a football game, I was working. Thursday night football, Monday night football. It doesn't matter. That's what I love doing. That's what I did. But you don't see that time with your family. Like you just don't. It's not about, it's about what makes you the most money. And as a server, you know, that's what I did. And I got very accustomed to nightlife. The pandemic happened and I had my baby. But I saw that on Facebook where it was like, your kids don't care if you're not a morning person. They make you turn into a morning person. And it's so true. Natalie didn't care that I wasn't a morning person. Natalie didn't care that I wanted to sleep in. All Natalie knew that she needed her diaper change. She was ready to eat. She was ready to get up. She wanted to be entertained. And Tom's kids are older now, so it's not, you know, that level of like, you need to, you know, like revolve around your children in terms of like, you need to make sure you know where they are at every second of every day. Especially in the house, because, you know, my child's not even 2 yet, so I need to constantly make sure I know where she is so she's not hurting herself. His kids are a little bit older, so he doesn't necessarily need to, like, physically see them, but it's like at every single age group, at every single level, there are different demands that are going to require your sacrifice as a parent, regardless of the fact that you may or may not want to do it at that given time. No one cares. These are your kids. They didn't ask to be born, And these are the sacrifices that you make for what they want and what they need. And it's just like, I always wonder like how much athletes who depend on, you know, their baby mamas or the mothers of their children or their fiancés or their wives or their you know, the step parents who come in and parent kids that aren't theirs. All of that. I always wonder how much these athletes realize like what is it eventually going to be like when you take a step back from your professional career and you dive into the fact that you are a parent. You lay down and you created these children, and this is what they expect and need from you. And I wonder how much that was staring Tom in the face. And he said, I tried it for 40 days. I need to get my butt back into the NFL. I love Giselle. I think Giselle and Tom for what they show us, Giselle has held it down. Like, she really, really has. And accolades and just thunderous applause for her, because I can only imagine someone who the world thinks is the greatest of all time, and this is your partner, and now he's taking a step back from that and he's entering, you know, this world of parenthood. It's like, check your ego at the door, check everything at the door about your performance life when it comes to sports, because you're here to be a parent. You're here to help me raise these children to be the best versions of themselves possible. And that may have a little bit to do with sports, but honey, that ain't got nothing to do with the fact that you're an MVP. I mean, you know, your kids need you. Your kids need these values instilled. And I'm sure Giselle has been killing it when it comes to raising these kids. But I just, when I heard about Tom coming out of retirement, I really just thought how much of it was he was missing it, or how much he was just like, I'm not ready for the hood of full-time parenthood. I'm not. And, you know, it's a whole different world. It's a whole different level of sacrifice when you are a parent. And it doesn't really ever seem like he's never been up front and had front row seats of what that sacrifice looks like as a full-time parent, because he's always been Tom Brady, and Giselle has gracefully been like, I want you to be your best for the NFL, so I will take primary care of the kids. And it's just like, I wonder what's that full-time parent look like, because it obviously didn't look like much, or it didn't last long, because his butt's coming back to the league. So you guys let me know what you think. Let me know if you like this video. Let me know if this is something you'd be interested in seeing. Well, even if it's not, I'm just going to keep talking about it. So not like sports in general, but just like things that come up. And I'm just going to keep shoving videos up there because I can't put a wig on this. Okay, guys. So let me know what you think. Bye.